Welcome to the IGNOU Distant Learners. I am Dr. R.V. Chitaguppi, once again with the session of BHIC 131. And today the topic is the two new religions in ancient India, that is Jainism and Buddhism. 6th century BC is considered in the history of the world as the age of religions, because during this period we see in many parts of the world new religions sprang up, new religious thoughts developed. Like in Central Asia we find it was a Zoroaster religion or Zoroaster religion. In China, it was Taoism and Confucianism. In the same way, in India, 6th century BC saw the growth of the two religions, Jainism and Buddhism. However, before Jainism and Buddhism in India, we had the Hinduism. But because of the evils in the Hindu religion, superstitions, blind beliefs, traditions, customs, evil practices, which had made the path of salvation rigid. This made here the people to move towards the new doctrine, Jainism and Buddhism, which showed a very simple path to the salvation. So 6th century BC is the rise of these two religions. Among these two, Jainism and Buddhism, the earliest religion is Jainism. Jainism is the earliest religion. According to the holy books of Jainism, Dwadasha Angas, and the traditions of Jainism, they give a list of 24 Tirthankaras. Tirthankaras are very holy men, and here they have the divine place in the history of Jainism. They are here considered as the gods to the Jainas, and they are worshipped by the Jains. The first Tirthankara, Rishabhanatha, who is referred in Rig Veda. He is also called as Adinatha, the first Tirthankara, who is considered to be the founder of the Jainism. But the Jainism philosophy, doctrines, teachings, thoughts developed under the last two Tirthankaras, 23rd Parshvanatha and 24th Vardhamana Mahaveera. These two have contributed to the growth of the Jaina doctrines. Among these two, Vardhamana Mahaveera is considered to be the most popular Tirthankara in the history of Jainism. So, learners, you can expect a question on the life and teachings of Mahaveera or the growth of Jainism in India. So this may be a middle category question, medium category question, or sometimes it may be asked even for the long questions, descriptive questions. So learners, you have to prepare here for descriptive type so that you can answer the question to any pattern. So here today for the discussion we will be taking the Jainism history, and we will try to understand about the life of Mahaveera, the doctrines of Jainism, and how Jainism has flourished in India. So we will try to analyze Jainism growth in these three parts. Vardhamana Mahaveera, the most popular and the last Tirthankara, the 24th Tirthankara, was born in 540 BC. However, some scholars are of opinion that he was born in 599 BC. So we have a controversial dates, the 540 BC or 599 BC. However, to avoid it, we are saying it as 6th century BC. He was born at Kundagrama, a place in Bihar, and belonged to a Kshatriya community, a royal community called Dhyantrika community. His parents were Siddhartha and Trishadadev, and his early name was Vardhamana. The early name of Mahaveera is Vardhamana. Why he gets the name Mahaveera, we are going to come across later. Vardhamana here led a very royal life till the age of 30. His wife was Yashodhara, and he had a daughter by name Priyadarshika. But destiny had written something else. It was at the age of 30, with the death of his parents, Vardhamana mind underwent a transformation. He realized the sorrows, he realized the miseries of the life, and gave up his worldly life and became an ascetic. He became a monk at the age of 30 and performed a penance, tapasya, for nearly 12 years on the banks of Rijupalaka, on the outskirts of Jirimbika Grama, and attained the enlightenment. Enlightenment, also called as Kevalya Jnana. It is referred as Kevalya Jnana in Jaina texts. That is enlightenment. Stability of the mind, controlling of the mind. So that is here the enlightenment. So after this enlightenment, he came to be called as Mahaveera, the great conqueror, one who conquered his emotions, one who conquered his desires, one who conquered his feeble-mindedness. Hence, he came to be popularly known as Mahaveera. And after the enlightenment, he delivered his first sermon. Sermon is a religious discourse. First sermon at Mount Vipulachala on the outskirts of Rajagraha, Bihar. The first sermon that was delivered by him. And Mahaveera used the people's language, that is Pali language, to teach his thoughts, to teach his doctrines. Pali was used by, or it is also called as Ardha Magadhi language. Pali language or Ardha Magadhi language. So the people could easily understand the doctrines. And as the object of the religion is to show the path of salvation to the people, Jainism showed a very simple path to the salvation. Hence, here people were attracted towards it. People who were tired with the rigidity in Hinduism for the attainment of the salvation, here were attracted towards Jainism because of its simplicity. So the simplicity of the religion and the here use of Pali language were the basic reasons here for the growth of this religion and popularity of this religion. The mainly here Mahaveera, here later on he taught his doctrines to the people by moving from place to place. And it was at the age of 72. If you take 540, it will be 468 BC. Or if you are taking it as 599 is his birth, here it was 527 BC. So after a span of 72 years, we find he attained the salvation, Kaivalya. That is known as Kaivalya. 568 BC, if you are taking the birth at 540, 527 BC, Kaivalya, if you are taking the birth at 599 BC, at a place called Pavapura. This is the place where he attained the Kaivalya. Pavapura comes today in Bihar. So this is the place where he attained the salvation. So he was the last Tirthankara. So after mainly Mahaveera, Jainism gradually flourished in India. Slowly it developed. Mainly Jainism had the popularity here in India very gradually. However, before we go to the study of the growth of Jainism in India, the reasons, factors responsible for it, before that we have to understand what were the doctrines of Jainism. What were the principles laid down by Jainism for attaining the salvation. So here the doctrines of Jainism is the contribution of the two Tirthankaras, 23rd Tirthankara Parshvanatha and 24th Tirthankara Mahaveera. So both the Tirthankaras have contributed to the growth of Jainism. Parshvanatha, who is said to have lived 250 years before Mahaveera, contributed 4 principles to the Jainism to attain the salvation. That is Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha. The 4 principles that is contributed by Parshvanatha. Satya is always speak the truth, not to lie. Ahimsa, non-violence, not to harm any living organisms. So this has been considered as the nucleus of the Jaina philosophy, the non-violence principle. Asteya, not to steal. And aparigraha, not to have the greed for the wealth. So these 4 principles, if one follows this, here he can get rid of his miseries of the life and he can attain the Kevalya Jnana, or mainly he can attain that enlightenment and he can later go for the salvation. So these are very much important as per Parshvanatha. However, Mahaveera accepted these. Mahaveera accepted these 4 principles, but he added certain new principles also. Like here, he mainly added the 5th principle called as Brahmacharya, which means pure mind, good thoughts. They are also very necessary for a person to overcome the miseries. Always you have to have good thoughts. Never think of evil even in your mind. So pure mind, which is called as Brahmacharya, which was added by Mahaveera. So it became the 5 principles to attain the salvation. Apart from this, Mahaveera contributed 3 more principles which have been termed as the 3 jewels of Jainism, 3 Ratna. That is right faith, right knowledge and right conduct. So you must have right knowledge, right faith and right conduct. So these are 3 essentials that a person must possess. So these are also very much important for the attaining the salvation. So here it is said, the faith, you should have the faith in yourself. When you have that faith, when you have the full knowledge, and along with that, one should have a good conduct. Because a person is recognized in the society by his conduct or character. So all these three are very essential for attaining the salvation. So he contributed these three here, which are called as the three Ratnas, the three jewels of Jainism. And apart from this, the Jainism believes in the transmigration of the soul. That is, soul takes rebirth based on the deeds of your previous life. Hence, if you do good in your previous birth, you will have a good life later. The transmigration of the soul is believed here by the Jainism. So the thought was very simple to attain the salvation compared to here the Hinduism. It was a very simple thought. People were very much attracted to this. And people could understand it because it was in the people's language. Hence, the mainly people inclined towards this religion, living there mainly the Hindu religion. So this is how the popularity slowly started here of the Jainism. So after Mahaveera, after here mainly the 6th century BC, we find we don't have any other Tirthankaras, but Jainism attained the popularity. It became a very popular religion in India. So one of which was the simplicity and the use of the people's language, but more than that was the royal patronage, the royal encouragement, the dynasties that ruled in India. The kings promoted this religion. It is very interesting to note that even Hindu rulers promoted Jainism, because Jainism has a lot of here similarities in the performance of the rituals and the other things. So we find here even the Hindu rulers promoted the Jainism. Like, to give the examples, the early Mauryan rulers like Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara were great patrons of Jaina faith. Followed by that, in Kalinga, the Chedi king Kharavela considered to be the champion of Jainism. In the south, here we find Shatavahanas promoted it. Almost the Karnataka dynasties from Kadambas to Vijayanagara were no doubt Hindu followers, but at the same time Jainism was also very popular. In the medieval period, the Rajput dynasties encouraged Jainism. So hence the royal support was there. It was with the royal support this religion flourished. The religion developed Jainism. So we find here this is one of the reasons for the popularity of this simplicity and the use of the people's language. Apart from that, the royal encouragement. Now you have to understand how the rulers promoted this religion, how they developed this religion. Like, for example, construction of the Jaina temples, which are called as Jinalaya or Basati. To popularize the religion, Basatis came to be constructed. Basatis are just like the temples for the Jains, as we have Hindus. Here, the temples of the Jains, Basatis. Throughout India, today we can see the Basatis. They are mainly dedicated to the Tirthankaras. They are mainly, for example, to give, in Karnataka, in Mudubidare, we have got the 1,000-pillared Basati. That's a very famous Basati. In Karnataka, we have got it. Likewise, in Rajasthan at Mount Abu, the Dilwara temples, which are Jaina temples. In Rajasthan again at Ranakpur, we have got the Jaina temples. So lot of Jaina temples were built to promote this religion. They are dedicated to the different Tirthankaras. So in Basatis, the Tirthankaras are worshipped there. Apart from constructing the Basatis, the other here mainly the measures adopted by the rulers to promote this religion were the rulers encouraged the scholars to write books on mainly the Jaina Tirthankaras, Jaina philosophies. So books came to be composed on the Jainism. Like to quote some examples. In the Shatavahana period, we have got here a scholar by name Kunda Acharya who wrote books on Jainism called as Samayasara, Prabhitasara, Prayishchittasara, Niyamasara. They are books related to Jainism. Later in Karnataka, in Kannada, we have got a lot of books written. Like we have got Pampa wrote Adi Purana, a book on Adinatha. Ponna wrote Shantinatha Purana. Ranna authored Ajitanatha Purana. They are the books related here to the Tirthankaras in Kannada. A Kannada scholar by name Chaundaraya has written the book called Trishashta Lakshana Mahapurana, or popularly called as Chaundaraya Purana, dealing with 63 great personalities of Jainism. So that shows mainly scholars contributed to mainly the growth of this religion. So these are just the examples we can know it. In Sanskrit, here we have Jinasena Acharya authored Adi Purana. So here the books on Tirthankaras were responsible for popularization of the religion. The religion became popular. This was one of the major adopted by the kings to promote this religion. Likewise, another important mainly the major adopted was organizing the Jaina councils. The Jaina councils were held. The first Jaina council was held in 310 BC, organized by the Mauryan king Chandragupta Maurya. It was held at Pataliputra. It was at Pataliputra, Jainism. Here the first council was held, which was presided by Stula Bhadra. Stula Bhadra was the president of that. The mainly first Jaina council. And it was in this Jaina council we come across Dwadasha Angas were codified. The 12 Angas, the holy book of Jainism, were codified. They were collected. The holy book Dwadasha Angas. So this is one mainly the example we can mainly note here. Likewise, the second Jaina council was held in 512 AD at Vallabhi, that is Gujarat, under the presidency of Devaradi Kshama. It was a Shvetambara council. To overcome the disputes in the sector, this council was held. Devaradi Kshama was the president of that. So like this, Jaina councils were organized to promote this religion. And Jainism here witnessed here a split around about 3rd century BC. Around about 3rd century BC, there was a split in Jainism, and we see the emergence of the two sects, Shvetambaras and Digambaras. So it is an event took place here before the split, 298 BC. 298 BC, the Mauryan king Chandragupta Maurya abdicated his throne in favor of his son Bindusara, and along with his Jaina teacher Bhadra Bahu, he came down to the south accompanied by 300 Jaina monks and stayed at a place called the Shravana Belagola, where Chandragupta is said to have performed Salekana ritual, one of the ritual in Jainism, fasting to death. He performed the Salekana ritual and here he met his death. After this event, Bhadra Bahu stayed in the south and popularized Jainism. This is said in the 3rd century BC, Jainism entered in the South India. And Bhadra Bahu here was the promoter of this religion in the south. And in the north, the Jainism was under the leadership of Stula Bhadra. So we find a split took place. In the south, under Bhadra Bahu, the sect that here developed came to be called as Digambaras, and Stula Bhadra sect in the north came to be called as Shwetambaras. Shwetambaras and Digambaras. Digambara sect is popular in the South India, whereas Shwetambara is in North India. Shwetambaras are also called as white clads because they will be wearing the white cloth. They are also known as the liberals. They are not that orthodox. They do not follow here the traditions, rituals to that here orthodox. The fanatism is not there. They do not strictly adhere to it. However, in the south, Digambara sect, which flourished under Bhadra Bahu, so they are also called as the orthodox, or popularly called as sky clads, Nirgrantha. They expose their nude body here and they mainly are very orthodox in nature. So this what we have got, mainly the two sects flourished in mainly Jainism. In the north it was Shwetambaras and in the south it was what we have got the Digambaras. However, both the sects are believers in Tirthankaras. The Shwetambaras are, most of them are the followers of Parshvanatha, whereas Digambaras are the followers of Mahaveera. So this was an event which took place here in 6th century, here in the 3rd century BC. In the 3rd century BC it took place. So this is how later Jainism developed as one of the most popular religion of India, and today we find Jainism is one of the important religion of India. However, Jainism never flourished outside India. Like Buddhism, it was born in India, it here flourished in India, and it is popular in India even till today. And the Jains here mainly they consider their pilgrimage or the holy place is Shikarji in Jharkhand, which they call it as a Moksha Dhama, also popularly called as Samedha Shikarji, which is the place where 20 Tirthankaras have attained the Kaivalya, the Moksha. That is the holy place, and every Jain in his lifetime has to visit this place, the Shikarji in Jharkhand. So this is a brief account about Jainism, how it has evolved from 6th century BC and till present we have got it as one of the popular religion of India. Here students, you have to prepare, as I told you, for a descriptive question here this topic. In the same way, what we have studied about Jainism, in my next class I will be discussing about Buddhism. Buddhism is another important religion which we are going to take it in our next session. Thank you.